Selamat malam Bapak dan Ibu sekalian. Malam ini kita akan ketemu lagi dengan pembicara utama kita yang ditunggu-tunggu penampilannya. Beliau berbicara pertama kali dalam tahun ini, tahun 2025. The first speech in 2025 ya, Sir Hary.
Yes.
So, saya nggak sabar lagi untuk mendengarkan paparan beliau. Beliau akan berbicara mengenai the fallacies of AI ya, kekurangan-kekurangan AI. Dan seperti sudah kita ketahui sebelumnya, rentetan LTI dari mulai awal tahun sampai dengan minggu ke-4 Februari ini adalah mengenai artificial intelligence. Sir Hary, please.
Thank you very much, Pak Hendra. Good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. My speech is going to be in English generally, but I will try to make big points in Bahasa, just in case there's anyone here who may be struggling with some of the terms. Now, this topic today is called the evils of artificial intelligence. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at the increasing use of AI. And we're going to look at two very specific problems. They are not abstract problems. Bukan masalah yang abstrak. These are real problems so that we as the users of AI understand how AI works a little bit and the dangers that come with using AI. So the first danger is what we call algorithmic bias. Algorithmic bias. Now, the second danger is about human beings. As we use AI more, there is a loss of critical thinking. Jadi, sebagai species, as a species, we are going to slowly lose our ability, kemampuan kita untuk being critical thinkers, which is what has actually fueled human civilization for the last 10,000 years. So two dangers. There are many dangers, banyak sekali masalah-masalah dengan AI, but we're going to look at these two specifically this evening. Then I have some discussion questions. I hope you all will participate. I actually came up with some questions by Indra. So later we'll put it on the board and we'll have some people who have ideas to come and contribute their opinion about some of the dangers of AI. And then finally, we have a question and answer. So let's start from the top. For 4 weeks, by Hendra, LTI has been talking about artificial intelligence. How great it is. Kekuatannya, kecanggihan here. The ultimate, the summit of human technology up to today. How great is AI? One thing that we have not talked about is about the risk of AI. And this talk this evening is to give you some insight, sedikit, some cicipi, some ideas you should be understanding about AI. AI is not all good. We know that. There's nothing that's all good. It's a tool. AI, like every other piece of technology, cuman alat. And how we use the alat will impact as to decide whether or not they are baik, good, or buruk, bad. And AI, like all tools, are the same. So we're going to identify those two risks. We'll focus on two major risks, algorithmic bias and loss of critical thinking. Now, a lot of people, kita kalau lihat, oh AI itu ini, we think that it's so far from us. This is something that happens in America. Orang yang di IT aja harus ngerti. That's not true. Because as I will show you in a few minutes, AI itu directly impacts many decisions dan many people's lives. It's not just a matter of, orang yang di Amerika aja, ini masalah orang lain, bukan masalah saya. Karena this is really masalah kita. Kenapa? Because more and more, increasingly, we are letting AI take over human decision making. We used to have a human who understands humans. And these are the people that made the decisions. But karena kita inherently lazy, karena kita orang yang malas, we are happy to let AI make many of the decisions for us. And this is where you are going to have the problem, especially with algorithmic bias. So let's look at algorithmic bias first. It's a long word, yeah, algorithmic bias. Okay, to understand algorithmic bias, I'll just put the definition first and take you through the process of how AI works generally. Ini cara prosesnya AI works generally. And I'm sure kalau kita sudah ikut LTI, you will understand this already. But for those who want to be clear, I'll just make it very simple. Now, AI uses information. It uses data. And data is in language. Now, what it happens is the AI very quickly looks through the use of language, cara kita pakai bahasa on a huge pool of data and gives you an answer or an opinion. Now, my first question is, when you are looking at data, most of the data is Western, is in English language, and has a very clear set of underlying ideals. Okay, let me put it another way. Most of the data that is generated in the world is going to be from America or Western Europe, and it's going to be in the English language. Now, because that is the data available for your AI, the AI will only akan cuma lihat data point di dalam bahasa itu dan dari negara-negara yang tertentu. Of course, it looks at every country, anything that is generated. Tapi kerana the majority of ideas, the majority of writing, the majority of text that is produced on the internet is from the West, you get these society inequalities. So first problem is that AI gets its answers from looking at data that is not necessarily bukan a real world situation. The AI's world or the data that it looks at is very Western, very American, European, very Judeo-Christian, with a lot of underlying ideas. Let me give you an example, okay? To give you an example. If you ask the AI, please, hi Pak Sulis, yeah. Let me give you an example. If you ask AI, generate a picture of a lawyer for me, the AI will come up with a picture of a lawyer. But this lawyer will be a Caucasian, orang kulit putih. He'll probably using a Western suit, and he will probably be speaking English. Now, this is not necessarily what a lawyer looks like in different parts of the world. In Indonesia, a lawyer may look differently. In Nigeria, a lawyer looks differently. And the problem is, because most of the images generated are going to be Western images, the AI believes that ini adalah lawyer. This is what a lawyer looks like. So the picture is just an example. More and more, you can now understand that if you have text, let's say very democratic, very, very I have rights rather than social, where the group's well-being is more important daripada individu, then there is where you have this clash. Now, because they're going to only be looking at the English versions at the moment, you are going to have these social inequalities. Let me give you another example. We all have prasangka, yes? And this prasangka comes up in very, very unfair and exaggerated way. Saya kasih contoh. Chinese people are hardworking. Jewish people are a small group but very intelligent and they control the world. All these kind of rubbish prasangkas, okay? Now, because it is written in English and there are stereotypes and assumptions about race, the AI that looks at the data tends to believe I say the word, tends to believe that these are actually real. These are actually real. Now, I was in China in 1990s doing a lot of business with Chinese companies. The average Chinese worker in the early 1990s was the laziest person you could see. A manager had to pay the Chinese worker a bonus if he came to work every day on time. And there was a bath bonus. Kalau you mandi every day, you will get a bonus. And that was the average Chinese worker in the late 80s and the early 1990s. Of course, it has changed now. But that's the real Chinese worker from China. They just came out of communism. They were starting to become more capitalist. And that was the attitude. Nobody wanted to work because you work hard or you malas atau hardworking, wangnya sama. Now that is the reality, but that is not data that should be used, or that is not data that is used to make an AI decision about Chinese workers. Because realitasnya versus the actual data in the world is very, very different. Okay. And this causes what is called algorithmic bias. That means based on flawed or data that is wrong, it doesn't actually give you an accurate answer to your question that you put into ChatGPT or Gemini GPT. Okay? And then you have the problem of the use of English. Now, this is very interesting because last month, ChatGPT said that it was going to include Arabic or Arab language in their data pool. Okay, so Arab language is now being recognized by ChatGPT in their data pool. 100% you will see a change, a very slight change in the answers you get from ChatGPT on problems. For example, the Gaza issue, problems about, let's say, genocide. You're going to have very different ideas, for example, about women driving cars, having driving licenses to drive cars. You're going to see a change. Why? Because now the AI is going to have a different set of data. They're going to have more data that is from a different language. So because of these three problems, this is where you have a situation where you get what's called algorithmic bias. And the problem is that we all believe, or most people will believe, that if I put a question in ChatGPT, kalau saya dapat jawabannya akan accurate dan benar. What we need to put in the back of our mind, di belakang pikiran kita adalah this answer is only based on the data that is available. Now, what makes it worse? Okay, think of all the sensational news. Okay, berita yang sensational sekali. Now, sensational news generates a lot of likes and comments and a lot of heated discussion. And now ChatGPT and Gemini GPT and all these AIs, they don't know the difference. They just go and see what people are talking about. So the more heat, selebihnya ada diskusi, the AIs will go there and they will look at the information. Now, if then opinions which are normal and accepted by other people do not interest AIs because there's no activity. And that's another problem with how algorithmic bias affects answers that we get from ChatGPT. Let me give you some real-world examples. Some real-world examples of AI bias. Okay? I've got three. I'll share them with you. Hiring discrimination. Now, a lot of companies, when they put loker, lowongan kerja, will have thousands of people who apply. They do not read. They do not read all your resumes. The first thing they do now is they put it through a reader. And the reader the electronic reader using beautiful AI will actually find for you, let's say, the 20 best applicants. Ini 20 dari 1,000 yang kasih CV-nya. Ini 20 yang terbaik untuk di-interview, diwawancara. Now, this is a problem because if the AI believes that Chinese people are more hardworking than any other person, is going to rank Chinese candidates higher. If they feel, right, that this kind of person or from this racial or ethnic group is lazier, even though it's a prasangka, even though there is no real evidence of it, it's going to affect the output from the AI. And this is not in the future. This is happening every day. Even now, for the last 5 years, a lot of commercial companies have been selling AI software and they say, oh, this will help your hiring process. Forgetting, melupakan, bahwa these are real individuals and you really want to look for the people who will work well in your company. So the AI cannot read that. The AI in these hiring tools just look at everybody in general. They just look at the whole cohort and they go against their data. Another one, I'm also a lawyer, and this is frightening, okay? Because in America, only in America, of course, America is slightly different from the rest of the world. They want to do things differently. A lot of the decisions are being made by artificial intelligence without actually looking at people and deciding and listening to the evidence and using just pure common sense. Criminal justice, making decisions about someone's guilt or innocence, is slowly being taken away from judges. It's now being given to AI tools. In fact, I think about 2 years ago, ada yang datang to my law firm and they said, oh, we can generate all these documents for you. We can show you the strategy. The AI will plan a strategy of how to win a case. So we said, okay, we'll try it. Kita bilang, okay, kita coba aja. It's free demonstration, didn't cost us anything. So they came in, they installed it. We had one case, we said, okay, we'll try it out, put it in. Apa outputnya? Biasa sekali. Nothing innovative. It wasn't wrong ya, jangan salah. The output, cara dan strateginya untuk menang kasus itu tidak salah, cuman not impressive. Very biasa sekali. And we think, what? We want to pay 600,000 US dollars for this piece of what? I just might as well hire a lawyer, sit down there, and they can do the same work. Nothing special. So that's the problem, because in the real world, many big law firms are starting to embrace AI without actually thinking of the risk. So criminal justice is a second difference. It's a second example of real world. Third, healthcare. A lot of doctors say, oh, AI helps, AI helps. In fact, to be honest, my wife loves this AI thing. You know, she's got a AI bot doctor, and she will actually put in the symptoms, and the doctor will respond to her and will tell her what medicine to buy. And I don't trust. Yes, it's very convenient. I don't trust. I'd rather have a doctor who looks rather than just looks at a picture of whatever I want to show to him. Okay? And healthcare diagnosis by AI also has problems because people are not the same all over the world. People in Indonesia have a certain diet, have a certain lifestyle, and what the AI does is, because most of the information is generated in the US, they are imagining that you are a US client, you are a patient in the United States of America, not localized to your own position and your own lifestyle in Indonesia. So that is a problem. Okay, so AI diagnosis, is something that we're giving up. They say, oh, doctors will become extinct, We won't use doctors anymore. We just use AI to tell us what it is. I don't think I'm comfortable. I don't know about you, but I'm not comfortable about a machine telling me what's wrong with me. Okay? So here are three real world examples of bias AI, where AI bias can actually affect you. Let's go to the next slide. Why is AI bias hard to fix? Okay, so we know that there's AI bias. They know there's AI bias. They just don't want to tell you that there's AI bias all the time because the bias is deeply embedded in the data. Karena datanya biasanya from a Western perspective, a Western ideology, a Western democratic Judeo-Christian background, and this data is being generated in large amounts compared to Chinese data in Huayi. It's very difficult. It doesn't want to read Huayi. It wants to read Western, and then the algorithms are set up for that kind of scenario. So the data that the AI base its decision on has a problem because these are complex data sets, which very difficult to fix. Okay. AI developers, and I know one of them, but I don't want to say it here because it's recorded, do not even want to recognize these biases. Okay. And even you don't even know how they made the decision. All it does is it gives you an answer. You ask it a question, it gives you an answer. I'll give you an example, a real world example that happened to me 2 weeks ago. I went for a meeting with 4 people, online meeting. 4 orang in a meeting, the boss, his deputy, me, and my assistant. Jadi kita berempat. Tapi kita pakai 6 device. 6 device log on to the Zoom meeting. This is a secured Zoom meeting. Dan very canggih. He told me, he said, oh, you know, Harry, we're trying out this new AI that's going to check the engagement level of this meeting. Do you mind if I turn it on? I said, sure, you do whatever you want. You know, you're paying us to give you advice. Yeah, turn it on. So he turned it on. And then we had a meeting. And the meeting was not long lah. Yeah, setengah jam. But we did what we had to do together with the boss. The boss made all the decisions. At one point of time, I asked the assistant, do you have any input? And she said, no, I'll just leave it to the boss to decide. Sudah kan? Okay. Now, at the end of it, it generated what is called an engagement score. Jadi, I got a score of 65% engagement level of this meeting. 65%. I was shocked. I said, I thought we had a good meeting. We had an agenda. We went through the agenda. Everything was decided. We talked about everything. We had plus, minus. Everything was talked about. I wonder why I got such a low score for this engagement. So we asked the AI. We asked the AI can talk. You know, it communicate. It recognize our speech, and then it would type something out on our chat box. And I said, why was there such low engagement? And it turned out engagementnya low karena dua dari two of the participants in this meeting didn't say anything. Sebenarnya these two were just the actual device untuk audionya. Jadi, for example, Dr. Hary Elias, I'm talking to you now, tapi saya ada handphone saya, log on aja untuk audio. Jadi, 2 dari 6 orang did not participate and we didn't talk at all. And my assistant didn't say anything. Of course not. She's my assistant. I talk, she listens, takes notes, and then goes and drafts documents. And the boss's assistant juga ikut aja. Yes, whatever my boss said, I will do. It was a very good meeting, very engaged between me and him because we have to decide some things or he has to decide some things or some directions to take. But we had such a lousy meeting. According to the AI that was monitoring this meeting, this was a very bad meeting. So that's the problem. It's not a problem if you know how to deal with the output. It's a problem if next time you say, oh, going for meeting with Pak Hary is really waste of time, yeah. Buang waktu, karena engagementnya very low. Because you just look at the number, you don't understand the process of how the AI came up with this answer, that it was a bad meeting. There was an unengaged meeting. And that's the problem. It's like a black box. You never know what is inside and behind the meeting. Okay. How do we fight against these biases? How do we fight against algorithmic bias? First, there must be more transparency. People have got to explain why the decision is being made. Or we should have access to the process and the data that the AI took into consideration when giving us an answer. I'm not saying it all has to be written out there. Cuman ya bisa klik sedikit and go to a link. At the moment, kalau sekarang, they already have that. Now they are starting to have all these links. So if you ask ChatGPT a question, it will give you the answer, tapi seperti ada footnote. It's like a hyperlink. And you can click on that and look at the original source and decide for yourself. So that's a step in the right direction. Yeah, there should be more transparency in AI decision making. Nomor dua, if you really mau data yang banyak, please accept any language. The Chinese are producing so much of data, but it's all in Mandarin. Make sure the AI reads the Mandarin so that it can take into consideration alternative viewpoints and have a system. Kalau ada masalah di decisionnya, kita harus bertindak sebagai human and say, this is wrong. Okay, which is what I did at the meeting, by the way. Sesudah itu, feedback kita ke AI-nya, ya, you are wrong. And ini masalahnya, because two of the devices were just for audio. The engagement level should be between me and the boss, not between all the participants of the meeting, right? So continuous auditing where you identify and you can correct biases. Now, here's the second problem we have. If you can see here, you can see a chimpanzee, a monkey, using this as a tool, sebagai alat, put into the hole, pull out the semut, and eat the semut. Okay? This is what sets us and this monkey different from the rest of the animal kingdom. Kita ada ability to think. God gave us this ability to think. And the second evil, and this I call an evil of AI, is that we are losing our critical thinking ability. The first problem we have is there's an illusion, ada ilusi, halu, that AI is always correct. It's never wrong. Believe me, I've used a lot of AI. Sometimes it is wrong. Okay, sometimes you get wrong answers. And if you use it more and more, you will know ada yang tidak masuk akal. Okay. Now, the first assumption we always make, and this is the problem, is that AI itself often hallucinate. Dia halu juga. And it cannot tell the difference antara what is gossip, sarcasm, what is parody. It cannot tell the difference yet. So, jadi yang parody, yang joke is just taken as language. So it only reads the language and sometimes it creates its own answer because the prime motive is to produce an answer. Jadi kalau tidak masuk akal atau kalau tidak ada, ya, give an answer. Keep the user happy, right? And that is really a problem. So AI responses can be very misleading. And of course, everybody has watched by now, kesian President of the United States, Donald Trump, ya, menjilat kaki, the toes of Elon Musk. That is totally fake. It's totally AI generated. Kalau dulu, seeing is believing, right? Kalau orang selingkuh, you get a photograph in a hotel of the man and the woman, arm in arm. So I told my wife, I say, anybody come here and show you a photo of Pak Hary with some girl in a hotel, it's all fake. Fake news. Okay? That's the problem. You generate images which are not real at all. And they are so good. They are such deep fakes. You can't tell the difference to the eye. So seeing is no more believing. And that's the other problem with AI. You have videos, you have speeches, you can even have somebody talking from history. You just get a photograph of them, and the AI can now generate. So seeing is no more believing. Ya. Kalau dulu seeing is believing, no more. What's the impact of AI? What are the implications for education and research? Now, this for those in the university, it's always a problem. The students use the AI to generate a response. They copy, paste, then they translate into bahasa Indonesian. Done. Sudah. But when you ask them questions about their research, they cannot answer it. Okay? And the problem is, it's too easy to do. Terlalu mudah. And that makes everyone lazy. People don't want to verify their output. Verifikasinya is now just waste time lah dari AI. Pasti benar. Sudah, it looks good. It sounds good. It makes sense. Ya sudah, that's enough. Now, the problem is this kind of attitude melemahkan critical thinking skills. We don't want to do independent analysis. Analisa yang dari prime data, primary data from the beginning. Let's look at what is there. What is the evidence? We move away dari evidence-based research dan sekarang semua secondary. And secondary research itu apa? Pakai ChatGPT. They just use the AI to give them an answer. Okay? The problem, the consequence is it reinforces the bias and social media algorithms. A lot of it is going to be looking at TikTok because TikTok has likes, has constant talking, constant discussion. You've got your IG, Instagram. These are not sources of data. People who say things on these platforms are just the average Joe, you and me, expressing an opinion. Usually it's a wrong opinion. But AI cannot tell the difference. Dia cuma lihat bahasa yang di output, and that's taken as, well, that's a view. A lot of people believe that. Actually, only yang gila-gila dan on the margin that believe that, tapi kerana di sosmed, mereka itu vokal sekali. So the more vocal you are, the more the AI is going to listen to you. Okay. So what's the solution? What can we do to counteract this problem? First, encourage skepticism whenever you get AI-generated account. Kalau ada AI-generated account or you see a student or a person producing output that tidak seimbang dengan experience atau kemampuannya, we all know our students. Impossible that they wrote this essay. You know that, right? Then you must encourage, then you must be skeptic. Oh, can I ask you a few questions? And then you start asking questions. And after the third question, he cannot answer or she cannot answer you. She had no critical thinking. She tidak berpikir. Give her a 0, F, or ask her to go and redo it. Because she did it in 10 minutes. It had nothing to do with reading, analysis, synthesis, communication of her own ideas, originality, creativity, nothing. She just put the question into a chat and she got the answer, or he got the answer. Okay. Second thing you can do, promote literacy. Make sure people understand. So in our school, for example, next month, we are going to start our AI policy to let parents, students, and teachers know the limits of AI. So that's something you can do for your company, for your family. You should be talking to them about the limits of AI. And then we also, karena kita human, we need to balance the AI with human judgment. Jangan semuanya dari ChatGPT dianggap benar and let ChatGPT make decisions for us. It can help us I'm not saying don't use AI. It can help us, but we must understand the limits of that help. Okay, so thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I will take questions and answers by Hendra, or who's going to be the moderator. I have some discussion points. I'll take any questions that you may have. If not questions, then I actually have some discussion points that maybe can guide us to a deeper or a different idea. So here are 3 questions from me to you, maybe the educators. I don't know who's in the room, Pak Hendra. Let me see. Maybe Pak Susilo. Here's something that you might be interested. How comfortable are you to allow AI to make decisions that affect your life? Maybe somebody would like to answer. If not, Pak Susilo, I think.
Okay.
What do you think, Pak Susilo?
I think we should not separate AI and human judgment.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's better we combine it. I heard that if you read a long time ago, if you can read the data from the MRI or something like that, you must be an expert. You must be an expert. Now the AI can do it because the AI has selected all data from human judgment, from physicians, and then the accuracy is very high.
Very high.
And and then also it's a combination of a lot of intelligent physicians. One physician is limited. The knowledge of one physician is limited, but here, according to thousands intelligent physicians, and so the judgment is more precise. So I think if we combine it, and then after we read these, and then we combine it with the human judgment and so on. So I think the physician cannot do it like AI can do because the AI has more data.
Agreed.
That human being cannot achieve it.
And that's certainly, I think you make a great point that this certainly is good because the AI takes the collective experience, and I think the word you use is the intelligence, the collective intelligence and experience of thousands of doctors in reading, let's say, an MRI. And I think you also make a great point that at the end of the day, this output from the AI must still be interpreted by the doctor, okay? To say whether he agrees or he disagrees. I don't know. Why would you be comfortable, for example, to let the AI, to take the doctor out of the equation, to just go to a clinic, have the technician do the MRI, and then for it to generate a result for you? How comfortable will you be in that situation, Pak Susilo?
Well, as long as it makes a sense, then I'm comfortable. But I think we still need human beings as an assistant to evaluate the outcome of the AI judgment, and then that's the combination makes the judgment very good. Because
Thank you.
We are very limited in knowledge. So AI can help us a lot.
Agreed. Thank you very much, Pak Susilo.
But
go ahead.
You talk about westernized AI.
Yes.
I think that's I read it in Compass newspapers few weeks or few days ago, that DeepSeek, that is
Chinese.
from Chinese,
yes,
has different opinion about Ken Almond event.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Yes. And that's exactly what we're talking about, right? Because of the data set, the data that the AI looks, and I'm so happy that this DeepSeek, by the way, I've tried DeepSeek. It looks better than the other ones. Okay, we don't say which ones, but DeepSeek is a fantastic AI, and it will generate different opinions about the same event, and that really shows you the biasness, the algorithmic bias that AI brings with it. Thank you very much, Pak Susilo. Let's go to the educators. I put up a question. Should school allow the use of AI in the classroom? Should schools allow the use of AI in the classroom? Now I see Pak Sulis is here, and I don't know who else are educators. Pak Sulistyo, apakah Pak ada sedikit respon? Should AI be allowed to be used in class? And if so, gimana caranya untuk memakai AI in the context of a university or in a school? Silakan Pak Sulis. Kalau Pak Sulis bisa.
Ya, terima kasih, Mr. Hary. Ya, ini pengalaman kami mendampingi mahasiswa.
Mhm.
Seperti tadi kalau Pak Hary menyatakan itu, kalau saya melihat mahasiswa bukan semakin rajin, tapi justru semakin malas, semakin malas. Bahkan saya melihat beberapa teman dosen juga begitu. Artinya begini, kelihatannya ada dosen-dosen tertentu yang penelitiannya sangat produktif gitu ya, bisa menghasilkan artikel-artikel untuk jurnal begitu ya. Tetapi kalau ditelusuri lebih jauh, sebetulnya dia tidak membaca banyak. Artinya ketika sebelum muncul AI itu kita harus membaca banyak artikel jurnal sebagai landasan kajian kita gitu ya. Dari mulai pendahuluan sampai kesimpulan kita baca semuanya. Nah, dengan munculnya AI itu semua bisa disimpulkan dengan sangat canggih gitu dan sangat singkat. Jadi penulis-penulis jurnal sekarang itu, artikel jurnal sekarang itu hanya mengandalkan itu. Itulah yang menjadi, saya melihat sebetulnya bukan semakin hebat, tapi semakin malas sebetulnya.
And what happened to the critical thinking skill, Pak?
Iya,
Gimana diasar?
ya, justru di situ mulai justru menjadi tumpul ya, karena dia sudah tidak lagi memakai kemampuan otaknya untuk mengkritisi yang dia baca gitu, karena semua pengkritisan itu diserahkan pada AI gitu. Dia hanya menerima apa yang sudah yang dikritisi lah dalam tanda kutip oleh AI. Kalau istilah saya, kalau di komunitas pencuri itu ada yang namanya tukang tadah gitu.
Apa itu tukang?
Tukang tadah. Tukang tadah itu dia tidak ikut mencuri, tetapi dia menerima hasil curian itu.
Oke.
Nah, saya melihatnya seperti itu. Jadi ini sebetulnya sebuah kejahatan terselubung menurut saya ya. Kejahatan terselubung karena dia sama sekali sebetulnya sudah nggak mikir lagi. Dia hanya menggabung-gabungkan saja gitu ya. Merangkai menjadi sebuah artikel yang sangat ilmiah gitu dan bisa masuk jurnal-jurnal internasional.
Belum.
Nah, ini sebetulnya kalau menurut saya sangat memprihatinkan gitu ya.
Yeah, it's a big problem, yeah. We are
Ya,
losing
big problem.
big problem.
Sangat,
We are
sangat.
removing our ability to think. There's no more
Ya,
critical
sangat.
thinking.
Betul,
Okay.
betul. Ya.
Lulusan
Okay,
tiket.
thank you, Pak Sulis. Terima
Terima kasih
kasih.
banyak.
Thank you
Ya.
very much for that. So let's go back to, I have one more question. Kalau ada yang mau jawab, silakan. Ya, just put up your hand. Kalau tidak, unmute aja and join the conversation. To what extent should AI be allowed to make decisions? To what extent should AI be allowed to make decisions? Silakan, ada yang mau nyaut? Would like to respond to this question? Ibu Ius, silakan.
So far I understand, AI should be also be combined with our own rationality, right?
Yes, agree.
Yes, it is very good. When I was studied in 1990 perhaps, AI is still something to be discussed, and I don't imagine that at this moment the AI is so scattered around the world, just like we eat rice every day.
Yeah, it's everywhere. It's everywhere.
Yes, everywhere. That's true. That's why we have to be more careful and maybe more intelligence in doing so, right?
Yes.
I don't know. No, but anyway, perhaps hopefully that is not the first one. You will be go back with your next and with that, right? With the
I'll wait to
same.
be invited. I'll wait to be invited. But I think,
Okay.
Ibu, you make some very good points. That you cannot take the
What do you mean?
human element out of decision making. It's very dangerous to
So,
only leave it
yeah.
to AI. Okay, thank you very much for unmuting and joining in the conversation, Ibu. Thank you
You are
very
very
much. It was a
welcome.
pleasure. It was a
I'm
pleasure
waiting
to
for
have
your
you.
program, sir.
Sure. Right. Let's carry on with our this. So here are some conclusions
Okay, good.
that I'd like to share with
Good.
everyone.
That's I
Number,
agree.
yeah, AI is a tool. Don't make it your master. Yeah,
Okay.
it's a tool, not an absolute authority. And if you don't address bias and over reliance, yeah, that means
Hmm?
sampai tidak ada AI, you cannot function. We
You
will
cannot
have a
live without
problem. Yes,
AI.
you cannot live it, you can't live without it. You really do have a problem. Okay, and the problem, this needs to be addressed by the AI developers as well as the users. It cannot just be us alone. Because the algorithms are made by the developers and the data sets that are read or considered are actually by the developers. So with
Oh,
that, thank you everybody. Ibu Grace, is there anything you'd like to add?
Yeah,
Please,
I totally
please.
agree. Yeah, totally agree with Dr. Elias, especially in education, like AI should be viewed as a complementing tool, right? Not the main.
Not the main.
Yeah, so rather than replacing the traditional teaching method, we cannot forget the human element, as you just said, in education, like like empathy, mentorship, and personal connection.
Personal connections
Yes.
with the learner.
Yeah, so I think that the human aspect remain irreplaceable, right? Irreplaceable and very important for to support a supportive learning environment.
Yes.
Yeah.
That can never be taken by
No,
AI.
yeah.
Yeah. You always need the teacher to
Yes.
have that experience, to talk to the students, to
Yeah.
organize the students. Thank you very much for
Thank you.
sharing that. With that, Ibu Grace, thank you. And I will return control back to Mr. Hendra. Pak Hendra.
Begitu memukau. Jadi mungkin kalau misalkan ada pertanyaan atau ada komentar, saya terima di line virtual community LTI untuk saya sampaikan ke Pak Hary Elias. So, Mr. Hary,
Yes.
do you have some final speech?
Yep, just remember it's a tool. It's not the master. Never make any human tool the master. We use it intelligently. We are the one that God gave the brain to us. We created AI. AI did not create us. So whenever you get an answer, always check and see whether it is correct for your own moral bearing, your own religious beliefs, whether your common sense tells you this is common sense. Jangan karena AI tells you something is true, you accept it as the truth, especially if it affects something very, very fundamental to you. So those are my closing statements. If you want a copy of my PowerPoint, as usual, Pak Hendra, I will send it to Ibu Susan, and you can post it on your chat group. Okay, so anyone you want to share this, please by all means share it with anyone. So good night everyone, and have a great weekend. Ibu Grace has been very nice. She's actually in the yayasan of our school, and Monday is off. So we have a nice long weekend. Okay, enjoy yourself everybody.
Bagi umat muslim Saya mengucapkan mohon maaf lahir batin atas nama LTI. Semoga kita bisa menjalankan ibadah puasa dengan
Ya.
sempurna pada tahun ini.
Pak Gerhard, how are you? Guten Abend.
Yeah, guten Abend. Yeah. Very interesting approach. Yeah. We should not forget human intelligence. It's about
Yeah.
us. It's not about
It's
machines.
not about
It's not about
machines.
know-how. It's about to use the know-how to
How
live
to
together
use the
as a human
absolutely.
society. That's the target. Yeah.
And we keep forgetting that. Kita lupa.
Yeah, and
We forget.
children are going a very dangerous way. They trust in these things, and without handphone, they are not able to speak anymore.
They can't read a map. They need the Waze to tell them where to go.
Kita akan ketemu lagi minggu depan dalam acara yang
Oke.
sama, 1 jam bersama
Oke.
LTI. Selamat malam Bapak dan Ibu sekalian. Salam sehat dari Bandung. Terima kasih atas kehadiran Bapak dan Ibu sekalian.